Thank you for joining us today. Good morning. We are going to get started with some opening comments, and then we will take all questions. Please raise your hand if you have a question. It's good to see Broderick Turner already has his hand up. We'll get to you, BT. But we'll start with Steve. Go ahead, Steve. Take us away.
Well, thanks everybody for joining us today, depending where you are, morning or afternoon. It's a real pleasure. Before I get started on the business of today, I want to emphasize it's time to get out there and vote in the next few days, 3 days from now specifically. And starting on October 24th, we will have the forum open as an in-person or a place to drive by and drop off ballots in this election. We all know it's important to get out and vote, so I want to just underscore that. I also want to thank people at the Clippers, the Agua Caliente Clippers, and particularly at the forum for working so hard to try to facilitate voting because it's so important. Next thing I'd like to do is I really want to thank Doc Rivers. Doc is obviously a fantastic championship coach. Doc's really been, for me, a mentor since I first purchased the Clippers 6 years ago. I am so grateful to Doc for all he's done, not only as a coach. Doc is, I think everybody on this call knows, is a very special human being who's been a great ambassador and just as a great person. I wish him well in Philadelphia, except, of course, for 2 games a year. When we play him, I can't wish him as well on those 2 days. It's just great to see Doc doing what he's going to do again in Philadelphia. We are here as a consequence of a real extensive search process that we engaged in to try to find the next coach of the Los Angeles Clippers. I wanted to make sure, particularly for me, as somebody who's never been involved in a coaching search, that we went out and met the best and brightest coaches from around the NBA. And I'll tell you, I was super impressed by the quality of the talent, not only people who've been head coaches before, but particularly some of the assistant coaches around the league. Diverse group of people, very talented, and I'm really optimistic, if you will, about the future of the league. With that said, while there were a lot of great coaches, we had to get the best of the best, and the best of the best is Tyronn Lue. Ty, of course, has now spent 2 years with us last year, and I guess it would have been, the 2013-14 season. Ty was a Clipper. And it is such an honor for me to have a chance to participate in introducing Ty as our new coach. Ty's won championships. Not that I'm an expert on game management and X's and O's, but all of our staff says Ty sees the game as good or better as anybody that you'll ever meet, which I think is awesome. Ty's also a guy who I have really come to understand holds himself and others accountable, which is a key part of being good in the sports business. Ty's a coach who's had a real record of connecting as a former player, perhaps, but connecting with his players. And even the short time Ty and I have really spent more time together, I'll tell you, Ty's my kind of guy. He wants to move, learn new things, absorb, think new thoughts. Which I think is essential to keep pushing yourself like that, to be better, to grow. And we asked Ty, kind of what else do you spend your time on? Ty said, Steve, I'm really all about basketball. And I think that kind of work ethic is what you really need to succeed in any business, but particularly this one. Lawrence Frank, who you hear from, Michael Winger, Trent Redden, Mark Hughes, really did their job to ensure we have the best coach. And of course, we were all able to consult with Jerry West, who has quite a track record of all of this kind of stuff. And I guess, has known Ty for over 20 years now. So without further ado, I'm going to turn things over to Lawrence Frank, and Lawrence will proceed with the proper introduction of Ty.
Well, that was pretty good, Steve. Thank you. When you work in basketball, you deal a lot in numbers and letters, X's and O's on a whiteboard, stats on a screen, lines on a resume. Everything can be studied and measured, almost everything. Feel is a term you hear, but you can't quantify. Feel for the game, feel for players, feel for people. The man I'm about to introduce has a lot of qualities we prize. He's a thinker, he's a connector, he's a dynamic leader who lifts you even as he challenges you. He's got the X's and O's. He's got the resume. He's also got the feel. It comes across in the way he sees the game from every angle and the way he relays his vision, often on the fly, in the action. Ty has been where we want to go. He has taken a supremely talented team faced with challenges to the peak of the NBA. It's no secret we've had a difficult month. We lost a series we were in position to win. We said goodbye to a coach we all greatly admire. We all take responsibility for what took place and have been working hard towards making the necessary improvements. The first step was finding the best head coach to lead us forward and grow with our group. We talked to a lot of fantastic candidates, as Steve said. Sometimes the best is sitting right in front of you. I'd like to introduce the new head coach of the LA Clippers, Tyronn Lue.
Thank you, El. I appreciate it. First of all, I just want to say, thank you to Mr. Ballmer. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Lawrence. Thank you, Jerry West. Thank you, Mark Hughes. Thank you, Trent Redden, for having the belief and confidence in me to give me the opportunity to coach this franchise. And I really appreciate it. I'm happy to be back. I'm excited. And I'm just ready to start working right away.
Great. Well, thank you, Ty. We're going to get started with the questions. First question will come from Ohm. Just a quick reminder, if you do have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get to as many as we can. Go ahead, Ohm.
One of the few owners who was in the bubble watching all the Clippers games. How did you feel after that game 7 with how everything finished, and why did you feel there needed to be a change of coach? I mean, in your assessment, you've been watching this team for a long time. Were there any patterns or anything that you felt that needed to be changed, that you couldn't just kind of come back and bring the same core back and try to make another run?
Yeah, I'd say just a couple things. I did see all but one of our playoff games and a few of our seeding games in the bubble. I don't think we played our best basketball most of the time, frankly. We're in the bubble, and certainly the way we ended our season, that really disappointed me. I think probably fair to say my personality is all about winning, and we didn't get the job done that we expected to get done at the end of the season. You could say it was extra painful, if you will, to be down, or to be up rather 3-1 and then have Denver come back on us. But at the end of the day, we did not meet the goals we set out for ourselves. And so after sort of a period to breathe, to decompress for all of us, we tried to, really ask the question. We did ask the question, what do we need to do? What can we do to be better, to improve? And, one of the areas where we decided, just because of, where we were and trying to get different perspective, et cetera, was in the area of coach. And we brought in the best coach possible. I think the best coach in the NBA, frankly, and certainly the best coach for the Clippers at this stage of the game. So I'm excited about where we are. I'm itching actually to have the season get going again, and somehow the magic of this crazy stuff. I don't know when we'll restart. You got to ask the league about that, but I hope this is not as long as the average off season, and just excited to see what Ty and our group of players and staff will do in the next season.
Thank you, Ohm. Next question will come from Corey Maggette. Go ahead, Corey.
Hey, Hey, Coach Lue,
What's up, Corey?
Lawrence,
How you doing?
and Steve. First of all, I just wanted to say congratulations. And, Steve alluded to it as far as being a two-time championship coach, one of 8 coaches that are currently in the NBA that has won a championship. And when you think about this, only 34 coaches in the history of basketball that's won a championship. And you've been to that promised land. For me, it's like, what would your approach to bringing success to this Clippers franchise at this time?
Well, first off, Corey, I want to say I'm sorry. I was just thinking through my mind. I forgot Michael Winger. I want to say, Mike Winger, thank you very much for all you've done. I really appreciate it. We've been on the phone a lot lately, so I'm sorry about that after going through my mind. But to get back to you, Corey, I just think having the right mindset, having the approach, I think I know what it looks like. I know what it takes. But I'm excited because the roster is unbelievable. And to have a chance and opportunity to coach a team like the Clippers, who I love their roster, I love the team. I love what they stand for as an organization, getting Mr. Ballmer and him kind of just being genuine of the person that he is and taking care of everyone and making sure everybody's in a great place. That's the type of environment I want to be in. And that's the type of environment that you need to win the championship. Everyone has to be on the same page. Everyone has to be together, and it has to be a family. And when you start there, I think it's easy to build a championship team because everyone's invested, everyone's a part of it, everyone's happy to be here, and that's what I like. So that's just to answer your question.
Thank you, Corey. Next question is going to come from Andrew Greif. Go ahead, Andrew.
Hey, Ty, you've been so open in the past about the level to which Doc has been such a driving force in your decision to really become a coach after you retired. So what have these last few weeks been like from seeing him leave to now being asked to finish the job that he set out to start?
Andrew, it's been tough. Like Doc has been my mentor since I've been in the league and coaching, and he's given me my first opportunity. So without Doc, I wouldn't be in this position today. It's a tough loss for all of us, as Steve said. With that being said, I've learned a lot from Doc, but I've also learned a lot from a lot of other coaches around the league because I'm always studying. I'm always trying to get better. I want to be better. So not just learning from Doc, but I've learned from other coaches like Spo and Brad Stevens and, watching Nick Nurse last year, thinking outside the box of being able to play boxing 1 and triangle and 2 and bringing something new to the NBA. And if you stop learning and you stop being willing to learn from other people, then you won't be successful. So, everything I do is not mine. I take a little bit from each person, each coach, each great coach, Popovich, Phil Jackson, Stan Van Gundy taught me a lot. Scott Skiles taught me a lot. So just being able to take from a lot of different coaches and kind of make it your own, that's what I pride myself on.
Thank you, Andrew. Next question is going to come from Tomer. Go ahead, Tomer.
Hey, Ty, first of all, congratulations on the new job. I'm curious, there were a couple of head coaching opportunities in the league. I'm curious, what led you to choosing the Clippers, and how much of the familiarity with the organization, front office and player-wise, especially in the bubble, led you to choosing to stay here?
Well, actually, they chose me. It feels good to be wanted. I think winning the championship and going to 3 straight finals as a coach and sitting out, last year and kind of collecting my thoughts and doing a lot of film work, looking at a lot of different teams play, a lot of coaches and what they were doing. And for me to be here, they chose me, and it feels good to be wanted. And I kind of forgot the second part of your question, but, I'm just so happy and excited because they took a chance on me and giving me the opportunity to be here. And it wasn't a situation where, I turned down other situations. I think it was more so the Clippers wanted me. They wanted me to be here, and I just felt good. I worked with Lawrence in Boston. I learned a lot from him on the defensive side of the basketball, from Lawrence and Thibodeau. Mark Hughes was my coach when I was in Orlando with Doc. Trent Redding was with me in Cleveland when we won the championship. Jerry West drafted me. So just being around the environment that we have and people that I know is great. And then also having a year under my belt of just being around PG, Kawhi, Lou Will, Trez, and the team that we have in place, and just seeing what we needed to do better, what we can get better at, and just having that 1 year of experience of being around those guys have really helped me out as well.
Thanks, Tomer. Next question is coming from Brad Turner. Go ahead, Brad.
Thank you. Hey, Lue, can you?
He gets a question?
Yeah, I get a question.
Everybody gets a chance.
Okay, all right, okay.
First question. Can you admit that I'm taller than you are right now in front of everybody?
You're 5'9.5", BT.
So are you, so that makes me taller.
I'm tell the truth today. Today I'm gonna tell the truth. I'm 5'11 3/4.
Okay. I'm knowing the way how you operate. I'm sure you've already looked at film of your team. What do you think it's going to take to get this group to the NBA Finals and win that championship?
I think it's a few things. I think, just looking at our team, we need to play faster at a better pace. I think getting easy baskets is one thing. I think sharing the basketball, playing through our best players, and then also making the other players on our team better. Moving the basketball, changing sides of the floor with the ball, I think is very important for this team. But also getting our players in the best position and best spots on the floor that they're comfortable in, and they've kind of played in those spots and positions throughout their career.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next question is from Mark Medina. Go ahead, Mark.
Hey, Ty, congrats on the job. This is for everyone. There are some comments made from some of the players that the chemistry wasn't where they wanted to be. And I was wondering from your perspective, what did you see in that and how do you guys address that moving forward?
Hello, Mark. How you doing? Thank you. I think when you talk about chemistry and continuity, it's not more so off the court and guys not liking each other. When you talk about chemistry, it's more so, PG came in, he had shoulder surgery, so he was out. He missed the whole training camp. He missed the first 11 games of the season. Kawhi came in, so he couldn't participate in the whole training camp. Then we lost Pat Beverly, in and out of the lineup a few times. And then once we got to the bubble, it was tough because we had some bad things happen. Trez's grandmother, Pat Beverly's best friend, Lue had a funeral. So with those things being said, it was hard to build continuity and chemistry throughout the course of the season because we didn't have a lot of practice time. We didn't have our starting unit or our whole team for a large part of the season. So when we talk about chemistry and continuity, it's more so on the basketball court of just being familiar with guys and how guys like to receive the ball or where this guy's going to be on the floor. It was more so of that. And I think that comes from being healthy and not having as many injuries.
Thank you. Thanks, Mark. Next question is from Miriam. Go ahead, Miriam.
Hey there, Ty. Congrats on the gig.
Very much.
Right on. Hey, so Mr. Ballmer was just saying that obviously winning is important there, and you've been in a situation in Cleveland before where you came in and had to win right away. What's it feel like there, pressure-wise, now that you've taken this job at this point in the Clippers' tenure?
Well, Miriam, I'm big on pressure because if you don't have pressure, that means you don't have a chance of winning the championship. So when you talk about pressure, that means you're in a situation to win. That's what I want to do. I want to be one of the greatest coaches. I want to be great. So in order to be great, you have to win. So to me, when you start talking about pressure and all that it means, to me, it just means you're in a position to win the championship. And you want to take on those pressures. You want to be better. You want to be great. So in order to be great, you have to get over those hurdles. So I'm excited about it. I don't look at it as pressure. I look at it more so as a chance to win another championship and take this team to a higher level.
Thanks, Miriam. Next question is from Dan Wilkie. Go ahead, Dan.
Hey, Ty, congratulations. Kind of a two-part question, one for you, one for Lawrence. Ty, for you. What do Kawhi and Paul need to give you guys more this year that they weren't able to give you this season? And then for Lawrence, how important do you think for the next 2-3 years of this franchise is going to be player development, considering you guys sent so many draft picks and so many assets out in trades to kind of go for it this season?
I think for me, Dan, I think just being who they are. I think put them in a comfort zone where they can play their game and they're going to be able to, they have to adjust to my system and to my program, but I also have to be able to adjust to them, to their comfort zone and what makes them better. And I think, setting the tone defensively, being the two best two-way players in the league, I think it starts on the defensive end with those two guys, of setting the tone every night defensively, but also just health. I think PG came into it, like I said, had 2 shoulder surgeries. Then he messed his hamstring up throughout the course of the season. So being in and out of the lineup, kind of hurt PG a lot. So he didn't get a lot of, basketball. He didn't get a lot of chemistry with Kawhi and with other guys on the team. So I think health is the biggest thing moving forward.
Yeah. And then, Dan, in regards to player development, look, player development is critical regardless of where you're at in your team building. I mean, we're fortunate that 5 of our top 8 are 30 years or younger. But a lot of times when people talk about player development, they focus on younger players, which is critical. But also the best teachers and the best coaches get the best out of your best players. And we've talked a lot and we've looked internally in terms of how we can get better. We think we can make great gains organizationally in the player development phase. And when player development is kind of like a catch-all phrase, there's skill development by the coaches, there's development by the performance and medical staff, there's development, mental performance, nutrition. So it all comes together, but it's something that Steve's given us the ability to invest in, both in people and resources, and in conversations with Ty. I mean, we're very, very hopeful of our young guys getting better, but also at the same time is making sure we have a plan for every single player and making sure we're giving them enough feedback throughout the process to see the gains they're making.
Thank you, Dan. Next question is from Helene. Go ahead, Helene.
Hi, congratulations, Ty. Just a quick question, and it goes back to maybe a little bit to continuity and the lineup is, Kawhi Leonard was handled with the load management factor so often last season. Do you foresee that happening again? And do you at all worry that it leads to a lack of continuity?
It's something to have a talk to with the medical staff and with the performance team. I really can't answer that question right now, but the most important thing is, the health of our players and whatever's best for our team and best for our players. That's how we will handle it. So I can't really comment on it right now because I don't know.
Thank you, Helene. Next question comes from Farbod. Go ahead, Farbod.
First of all, congratulations, Ty. I had a question for Mr. Ballmer. How soon after what happened in the playoffs did you decide, we needed to take a new coach or make a change in what we have? Was it immediately, or did you give it a little bit of time before having the conversations with Doc?
Oh, no. I definitely gave time. You want to let things sink in, and Doc and I needed to have some chats. I mean, he's an incredible person and an incredible coach, and after a few chats, we decided collectively that it was probably right to move in a different direction. It's very important to me that we not do anything in the heat of the moment. That's not rational. It's not like, oh, we lost the game. Everything. I mean, that's not sane. And so we took our time. Doc and I took our time together and arrived to the point we did, and then we took a little more time to be thoughtful. Well, we loved Ty from day one. We wanted to make sure we put him up against the best around the league, and so I would say we were thoughtful. And I'm going to blow the John Wooden quote, but it's something about be quick, but don't rush. And I know I don't have that exactly. Be quick, but don't hurry. Somebody will correct me if I got it wrong, which I'm sure I did because I always blow it. But that was kind of the process we took both at the end of the season as we moved forward and hired Ty.
Thank you, Farbod. Going back to Ohm. Go ahead, Ohm.
Hey, Ty, congrats on the job. I was wondering, you played with one of the most demanding leaders in Kobe, and you coached LeBron, another great leader. I was wondering, with your 2 stars now on this team are kind of quiet and reserved. Do you feel like you have enough leadership, and do you need to maybe see more from those 2 guys or anybody else?
Well, leadership is different. I mean, if you talk about our 2 players with Kawhi and PG, as you referenced, they lead by example. I mean, practicing hard and working hard every day individually on their game. And you're not going to have like the best players be the natural leaders at all times. It doesn't happen like that. So I think a lot of leadership has to come from me. I think it comes from Kawhi. I think it comes from PG. I think it comes from Lue and Pat Beverly. And it's going to be collective. I don't think you can just say, leadership from one person and put that demand on one person to do that. I think we got to do it as a committee. And they're great. You know, I got to show them different ways of leadership. They're going to show me different ways of leadership. I'm going to learn from Mr. Ballmer and Lawrence as well. Like I said, it's all collective, and I don't know everything. They don't know everything. So we want to get better as a group. But the biggest thing I think in leadership is just communication, being able to communicate with one another. Myself, Kawhi, PG, Lou, Pat, you know, Trez, and the communication will help the leadership going forward.
Thank you, Ohm. Next question, we're going back to Andrew. Go ahead, Andrew.
A two-parter, one for Ty. What kind of qualities, I guess, how would you structure your assistant coaching staff? Like, do you figure on having coordinators, that sort of role? And then for Steve, you mentioned at the top that you felt like there were areas that, to get better as an organization, there were areas that had to be better, and one was coaching. Are there other areas you've identified where you feel like they have to take a step forward to reach your potential?
So me, as far as my coaching staff, I want to make sure that, you know, like I said, I have a defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, player development, but be able to do multiple things, not just, you know, one thing of focusing on defense and that's all I can do, or focusing on offense, that's all they can do. I want to make sure that, you know, picking the coaching staff, we have guys that can do multiple things because, you know, I want to build the best staff. You know, I want to be the best coach. I want to see our coaches move on to be head coaches in the future. So, you know, we're just going through a process right now of just trying to figure out what's best for this organization, what's best for me and this staff, and kind of go from there.
And on my side, I'd probably just underscore two things. One we've already talked about today, but that's player development. That's the role that Ty and his staff has, the front office. Everybody knows our situation with picks. We're just going to have to do better and better with all aspects of player development. The second thing I would score is, I don't know if it's, we need to do better, but we're going to really need to be on our game when it comes time to our roster. Given that we don't have a lot of picks going forward, you know, how we sort of work in the margins and really find and develop talent, and how we use, you know, our exceptions and our veteran minimums. There's a lot of work, and I would say we've made big moves, bold moves under Lawrence's leadership, but we're going to have to continue to grind in every area of roster development.
Thanks.
Thank you, Andrew. We have time for a couple more questions. Mark Whicker, go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, this is for Lawrence. I know a lot of Clippers after the game and even today talked about, you know, chemistry and the lack of practice time being contributing factors to what happened against Denver. What did you see in the second half of those three games that you know, might have troubled you about the way they played and about especially the inability to generate offense in Game 7?
Yeah, was that for me, Mark?
Yes.
Yeah, I think to echo what Steve said, I mean, that was great disappointment. Look, we pride ourselves on being a tough, gritty, resilient team. And for many different reasons, we weren't. And I think that's something we all have to look in the mirror, that we didn't respond to Denver's constant jabs to us, that we weren't able to be that tough, resilient group. And so we got to look deep within why that happened, but also give Denver credit. It's not as much as we lost as they took it. And you have to acknowledge that they were the better team for that series. But with that being said, I think you're constantly learning. You're learning more about your guys. You're learning about your team. I think Ty referenced it. When you look at most teams that win a championship, they have to go through major adversity in order to get there. Now, some are able to avoid that, but by and large, it's very, very hard to win a championship your first year, and it's no excuse. That was our goal. We fell short. We have to own that. And so it's a lot of internal review, both from front office, coaching, players, in terms of what we need to do better in order to come back the type of team that we expect to be.
Thanks, Mark. We have time for two more. We're going to go back to Miriam. Go ahead, Miriam.
Hey, thanks again. So Ty, wondering, have you had any conversations with Kawhi or PG or any of the guys since you came into an agreement with the team or even during the process?
Yes, ma'am. After the agreement, I talked to all the players. Everyone reached out and just said congratulations. And I've talked to a lot of the guys on the team so far. So we're ready to get started. You know, we're excited. We're anxious. You know, not knowing when it's going to happen is tough. But, you know, we're in great spirits and, you know, ready to get this thing going and just kind of go on from there.
All right. And the pressure of the last question resides with Dan Wilkie. Go ahead, Dan.
I don't feel pressure, Chris. Hey, Ty, it's been almost 2 years since you were a head coach. I'm curious, in that time, both the year off and then this year as an assistant, what were some of like the real kind of aha moments for you that not only made you want to get back into this role, but like you kind of mentioned before, helped you kind of fully form who you are as a coach even more and evolve?
I think the first thing, I just had a chance to kind of step back and look at myself and work on me. You know, I lost 35 pounds, you know, working out every day and changed my diet, have a great workout regimen. That was the main thing, is focus on myself. And then after that, just kind of, you know, get back to watching the game and just seeing how coaches are performing, what they're doing in the game situations, watching all the games and all the talent in the league of how I could be better. And after Cleveland, at those first 6 games of the season, and then I was done, I had that whole season to just kind of reflect on what I could have done better as a coach and what can I do and how can I keep improving. And just watching all the games and just talking to a lot of coaches around the league and having constant dialogue with Brad Stevens and talking to Rick Carlisle, talking to Steve Kerr, you know, talking with Doc and just, you know, picking their brains on different things and different situations to get better. And that's what I want to do. And then, you know, Doc reached out to me once the Clippers signed Kawhi and PG and kind of wanted me to come back and you know, be with him and learn under him some more and help him out in the best way I could. And, you know, it felt good, you know, to be under Doc, and Doc, you know, let me go to Cleveland. I won a championship, go to 3 straight finals, and, you know, come back now I can help my mentor out. And, you know, we fell short, but, you know, we've all learned something throughout the course of this process. And like I said, I just want to continue to keep getting better. So just watching a lot of film, you know, watching a lot of games, dissecting the end of games, and a lot of, at the time I played, what you call ATOs, and just seeing everything, a whole overview of my career, of what I could do better, how I can get better, rotations and everything. So, and I'm still learning. I still want to be better at that as well. So, I mean, it never stops. And like I said earlier, if you stop learning and stop willing to get better, then you might as well quit.
Well, thank you all for your time. Steve, Lawrence, T. Lue, thank you. Everyone that was able to join today, we appreciate you joining the press conference today. If you have any further questions or requests, please reach out to Dennis Rogers or myself. We'll be happy to help. And hopefully we will see you all very soon. Thanks again.